Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Laura Canfield Show, the what? Create Your Life series, where we're talking about the gift of choice with my good friend Susan. Susan's here talking to us about the gift of choice, relationships, and so much more. And Susan was on our show last December, and oh my goodness, we had such a wonderful conversation, a wonderful time, and so much fun that I know, again, it's going to be the same. Yay! So Susan Lazar Hart is the CEO of Right Relationship for You. She's a creator, a speaker, a transformational coach, and an international author. And you can find out more about Susan on the live page or in the email that you already got. But it's like, she works with a lot of people talking about fearless leadership, relationships, which I'm really excited to talk about fearless leadership and what that means, right? She travels the world as a conscious thought leader, radio host, motivational speaker, and she is the executive director at Right Relationship for You. And Susan combines tools and processes with her real-world experience as a wife, mother, life coach, and relationship counselor to introduce people to a whole new possibility in their relationships to themselves. That's one of the areas that we forget about is the relationship with ourselves. We talk about relationships with everybody else under the sun, but what about our own relationship with us, right? So Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Lara, for having me, and thank you, everybody, for inviting me into your day or evening or morning, depending on where you are in the world.
Exactly, right? Where are we in the world? And sometimes I forget, it's like, where am I? What day is it? I'm not even sure. But thank you for being here. And tell me, Susan, since we talked last time in December, right? So much has been changing. So much has been going on. So what's going on for you right now?
Well, so much. I'm branching out and going into speaking, targeting girls in schools with fearless leadership, writing a new book. I just started a series this year called Bringing the Nurturing In, and every month we shift and change. This month it's going to be about, are you willing to give yourself permission? Mm-hmm. And I love the topic of yours, which has to do with choice. Are you willing to give yourself permission to choose? So if you're interested, anyone jump on in, go to my website, susanlazarhart.com, and you'll get more information. We're changing it up. It's going to be 2 days, every Tuesday and Wednesday, the first 3 weeks of every month. Mm-hmm. And laser coaching. And I just keep playing and creating and inventing, and I wonder what else is possible.
Yeah. Exactly, right? What else is possible when we choose for ourselves, when we are in relationship with ourselves and choosing what's right for us? I wonder what else is truly possible. Like what else can we create? And this series is about the gift of choice and creating your reality, which, when I started doing the series, like I didn't know at the time. Like, gift of choice, what does that mean exactly? And I finally got it. It's like, oh, the gift of choice is that you get to create your reality. It's like, yeah, and it can be fun, it can be exciting, it can be liberating. So, and you are the leader of your life, right? You are the leader of your reality, and you're creating it as you go. So when you're being fearless, to me, when I think about fearless, to me it means trusting and being in your power and just acknowledging who you are and who you be and going with that. So tell me, what does fearless leadership mean to you in regards to, choice, and gift of choice and whatever comes up. Me, I asked a bunch of questions all at once, right?
Well, Lara, okay, let's chunk it down. I always like to chunk it down. Choice is, you can choose to pee in your bed, or you can choose to pee in the bathroom. It's that simple. Choice is. We have the gift of choice. For the most part, most of us, we have that gift called choice. Mm-hmm. And so we're taught at a very young age to be afraid of choice. So instead of being told be aware, we're told be afraid.
Mm. Yeah, don't make the wrong choice.
So fear, which is false evidence appearing real, mm-hmm. or face everything and run, is something we're ingrained in at a very young age. Because we're taught, at least if I make them afraid, they won't get into trouble. At least if I make them afraid, they won't put their hand in the fire. You know, it's a total, really myopic way, tunnel vision way of being brought up. Because when you're told don't be afraid, or you should be afraid, there's no invitation of this thing called awareness.
Yeah.
And with awareness, we have choice. With fear, we have no choice. You know, fear was actually a chemical that was created to have us running from the dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And we still have that chemical. So we're taught that everything's a problem. So our body goes into fear, into the chemical fear. And it's the same chemical that actually creates excitement. So nobody ever asks, are you afraid or are you excited? And so the willingness to actually be present, living a fearless life, one that isn't run by the chemical or the distraction of fear, that's basically what we're talking about. Would you be willing to play in the realm of what if fear wasn't actually real? Who would you be? And of course, we still require that chemical. So if somebody comes at us with a gun, we can be aware and say, okay, I'm out of there. Or we can lift a truck off of you know, you hear of those stories about the 90-year-old grandmother who's picked a truck up off their infant child, you know, or a car up because they're not in fear mode. They're using that chemical to like, let's go, baby. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and we can use that chemical too to our advantage.
All the time. So a fearless leader is one who actually chooses to lead their life. You know, as Gandhi said, a true leader requires no followers, to lead their life without fear. No matter what it looks like, no matter what it takes.
Yeah.
Right?
No matter if you don't know what it looks like at all.
Well, you know, for the most part, we're in our knowing, not in our how to know.
What? I'm like,
well, we're taught again, how do I know? Prove it to me.
Oh, yeah, yes.
How do you know? How do you know? Rather than, you just know.
Yeah.
You know when not to approach somebody who's going to create harm. Yeah. If you're brought up to be aware and in your knowing, you get that gut, I call it that gut sense. You know, that's a yes or a no. It's like, yes, I'm in. No, no, thank you, baby.
Yeah. So I was not brought up that way. I was brought up to fear and to come to conclusion all the time about everything, and not even to get the choice or the opportunity to choose. I was told what to do all the time. So I didn't get that opportunity. So then when I started, it was like, oh, I don't know what the future holds, but I know this. This is what I'm going for. I don't know what it means. I don't know anything about what the next 5 minutes is going to be after I choose this, but I'm going with this, right? So that was my knowing in that this is right for me, and I'm going to choose this. I don't know what the future is going to be, right? But and even that people could not grasp or get. They're like, how can you just go and choose something when you don't know how it's going to be? It's like, well, I know it's better than this. You know what I have now. I know it's better than this, right? So it's like, you know. My parents, I mean, God bless them, they love me. It's like, they really, truly love me, and they just wanted me to be happy, right? But they were like, but how do you know you'll be happy if you do this? I said, I don't know, but I'm going to try and see what happens, you know?
And that's where choice comes in.
Yeah. And then choosing, when you don't know 100% of what the future, that's what I meant about the not knowing, right? It's like, I don't know, but I'm trusting that knowing that I have, even though I don't know what the next steps are. You know, it's like going with this.
That's where wonderment comes in.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah. How many people are actually willing to give themselves permission to wonder? Right? How many people are willing to give themselves the reply of, or the response of, you know what, I'll get back to you. Let me think about that. I'll get back to you. I wonder what this could create. And that's where you actually are the leader in your life. If you're willing to step into wonderment, I wonder what this could create. Yeah, like you were just saying, you know what? I might be the only one in my tribe that's actually choosing happiness. I wonder what that could create. You know, and we are, by choice, by consciousness, we are the ripples that create the change.
Right.
So the willingness to give yourself permission to be in wonder and to choose from wonderment, not having to know, but choosing from wonderment. And the great part about it is, what if there was nothing wrong, right? So you wouldn't, it's like, oh, well, not my best choice. Now what?
Yeah. What next?
What next? Well, that was an interesting choice. What did that create?
Yeah. And sometimes it creates a mess, but then it was like, okay, maybe don't do that again,
And what can I learn from the mess?
Yeah, exactly. Right? There's always some sort of awareness you get from all of your choices if you're willing to receive it.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's talk about that for a second. I love that. Because, with Ask Susan, for those of you who don't know, there's a Facebook Live on Sundays that I play with called Ask Susan with Susan Lazar Hart. And I get people writing in from all over the world asking questions. And there's a huge amount of refusal to actually receive. And in order to step into your who you truly be, there's something called receiving. Because choices that create, like we choose all the time. We could choose crap. We could choose something that's amazing, right? Yeah. And it's like, not my best choice. But if you're willing to receive the information, right, then it's like, so I wonder what this just created. I wonder what I just created here. Like, how many times I did this morning, I have my tea with me and I bring it upstairs. And of course I've got my computer under this arm and the tray with the tea and the teacup. And I saw the computer falling just before it fell on my foot.
Oh,
and I was laughing because I actually created the whole scenario. It's like not my best move. And what if that's the universe showing me, you want to see how magic you are? I'm going to give you some information. Let's see what you do with it. So how often are we given information by the universe and we choose something else? We choose to disregard it. We choose not to be the leader. We choose a distraction, whatever that is. It's all just information, right? Like, are you willing to give yourself permission to receive the information without expectation, without projection, without a distraction, without judgment? We're like, that's interesting. Cool. Yeah.
I love that because I as you're talking, I'm thinking about maybe some areas where, I didn't always make the brightest choice. And it was an interesting choice. And did I actually go back and look at, okay, what did I learn from this? Or what was the awareness? What was the information I got from this? And it's like, I think sometimes I judged myself for making that choice in the first place.
Yeah. Right? And that's so cool because, it's like acknowledgement has a huge part in choice. So the willingness to acknowledge, not my best choice. It's like, oh, wow, that actually opens up all these avenues to where I can perceive what else is possible.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, so that choice is actually out of the way now.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to choose that again.
They've done that.
Been there, done that. Yeah. Got the t-shirt. It's like, okay, cool. So what else?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Exactly. And that's one of the things, when it comes to choosing and the gift of choice for me is about, when I do make an interesting choice, I usually don't repeat it. I usually get the awareness and I don't repeat it exactly in the same way.
I was going to say,
I repeat it, but not in exactly the same way. Oh my God. Yeah. I'm totally transparent. Sometimes I do make the same mistake over again, but it's, it's like slight twist. Like, I'm not exactly the same. But it's about even that, being okay with that and not judging yourself and say, okay, cool. I did it again. Oops. Like Britney Spears song, right? Oops, I did it again.
Exactly.
And now what? And so that, for me, the gift of choice and what that creates is, you get, not only do you get to choose again, but you get to see where that choice that you made brought you to. And, like you said, open up other different avenues. And also not just about other different avenues, but it opens up your awareness to, I don't know, something else. There's something else there that I'm missing. Not just the fact that,
okay, so can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How many people actually look for what the choice creates before they jump in?
I don't think I do either.
Many people do, right? And so they're
Like, you mean coming to conclusion about what the choice will create, like the result?
Yeah, like, often when I work with people, I'll ask them to go out 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? And they'll say, oh, I see myself in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, cool, okay, and give me some more information. Oh, I don't have any more.
Ah, I see. Got it. Yeah.
So they bought the fantasy. I see myself here. What give me the texture, the taste, the sounds, what's going on. And I'm not asking for a red car with a blue roof and yellow tires, though that would be nice if I turned around and found it in my driveway. Hey,
colorful.
Live it all, baby.
Yeah.
Right? But it's more like, what's the texture? Like, if I ask myself, I was just at a women's conference,
mm-hmm.
and I'm like, this is interesting. I'm applying for one. I want to see what they're doing. In the same vein, and I'm just sitting there, and it's interesting, and all of a sudden they talk about this one girl. Now, one girl is part of the arm that they do. On the Saturday they have the women's conference, and on the Sunday they have a conference for girls. And they have a different age group, a younger age group in the morning and an older age group in the afternoon. And they really, it's like a circle, and they really talk about what's bothering in them, and they do all kinds of exercises. And my whole body started going, and it's like I went up to the person who ran the conference, and I said, how do you ever have adults there? Because I can totally, it's okay if you don't. She said, but we have volunteers. I'm like, So if I get accepted in as a speaker, could I volunteer for the next day? Absolutely. And she said, and these are so popular that we've been asked to have these once a month, not just once a year.
Nice.
And, for myself, who's so interested in advocacy and so interested in leadership, especially with teenagers, this to me was like, wow, how can we use each other to our advantages? That's choice. That's receiving. That I didn't know why I was going. I thought I was going to the conference because I'm just going to check out the other speakers, being a superior bitch that I am, and see how I can get in here. And, right? And I walked out with a whole different sense of myself.
Yeah.
And
and different possibilities.
And the wonderment and the choice.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. So if you ask me, where do you see yourself a year from now, Susan? I see myself with my book on fearless leadership. I see myself in schools, in high schools, talking with kids, breakup groups, seeing what else is possible, and what kind of budgets are available for that, and right? But I don't see myself in a blue skirt with a red top right? But I get the essence of that.
Yeah.
That's where I say people often shut themselves down just a smidge, just a smidge. When it's not about it's going to the taste and texture of what is it that you want to create. Are you willing to give yourself permission? And what's the first step? Because unless you're not actually willing to do the dirty work, as I call it, dig deep, and really acknowledge what is it that you came here to be. What is it that you chose this body? You chose this time in this reality on the planet right now, right? Yeah. You're engaged with the universe. So what is it? Would you be willing to actually choose one step, whatever that is, without having to know what it's going to create?
Exactly. And I think that's sometimes where people stop. They hesitate. They don't know what that first step is, or they might know what the first step is, but they don't know what the second step is, so they don't even take the first step. Right. Right, it happens a lot. We do it, as well. I mean, how many times have I stopped myself from doing something, right?
That's part of this reality. Is you better go take a course, or you better do that. You better, oh no, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Rather than catch me, I'm flying.
Yeah. It's about having to figure it all out beforehand, before you take the first step.
Giving yourself permission.
Yeah. And when we don't give ourselves permission to do what we truly desire, what really lights us up, because we think we have to do all these other responsible things first, right? And then our needs go on the back burner. Like, oh yeah, someday, one day, I'll get to it, And, then you're like older and wiser and you're like, oh shit.
Lara, one of the, on Ask Susan last month, we've been in this conversation where some people have asked for, again, for those of you who don't know about Ask Susan, pop on. It's a Ask Susan Facebook Live every Sunday. And the conversations have been about, how do I say yes when I want to say no? And how do I say no when I want to say yes? And it's kind of what you're talking about. Again, giving yourself that permission to actually say what's true for you, without buying into anybody else's reality or what you've been told to do or not do. We pile up the I can'ts, or they won't receive. We look for evidence of false evidence appearing real. We look for evidence of what's not possible instead of just saying no. I mean, no is a full sentence, right?
Yeah, no, that's true. And it's like, we're setting ourselves up sometimes at the very beginning to fail or to fall, because that's what we're looking for. I just got that aha right this second. It's like, oh, do I do that?
Absolutely. You're brilliant. And then you're right about being wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was just going to say really quickly, because I forgot to mention at the beginning, if you have a question, you can raise your hand like Karen has, or you can just unmute yourself if you'd like to ask, or you can type into the chat box if you'd like to ask a question.
Great. Questions for Ask Susan? That's terrible.
Yeah, I love questions because, I have a lot, but I love hearing other people's questions too. I can always come up with stuff to talk about and stuff to ask.
Who has a question?
So Karen has a question. Karen, you want to unmute yourself? Perfect.
Yep, I just did. Thanks, Susan. Thank you,
Yay.
Laura.
Hi, Karen.
Hey. So my question is, yesterday I had a beyond moment. A business associate was trying to pressure me to do something. And the way she was phrasing it, my mind just went blank. I really couldn't grasp what she was saying. And I was just like, I just went into this beyond. And then afterwards, I was so grateful because none of her words, like, they sort of registered, but they didn't register. I really literally, my brain just shut down. I couldn't hear what she was saying. Yeah. And then once I realized what she was doing to me, pressuring me, whatever, I mean, we already got off the phone at that point. And I had this moment of like, I want to retaliate. I want to make choices from that space of being like cutting off my nose to spite my face. I'm in business with this woman. I have money and time invested in this relationship. And I was going to just throw that all away. So just like get her out of my life. And I was like, okay, so now I've calmed down a little bit. I called some people to find what my choices are and found out what that would create, and that wasn't so great. So now I'm in a more peaceful place.
Nice.
I don't even want to talk to her again. But we're in a business relationship together. But I mean, for those moments when I do go blank, do you have any tips for that? And then choosing, seems like you have to be in a space to not make the right choices, but not to retaliate. So could you talk a little bit about those two things?
Absolutely. And let me congratulate you, Karen, because the greatest thing we can do is reach out, lower our barriers and reach out. Like I'll often call somebody and say, okay, can you ask me some questions? Right? And so you're not getting somebody who's aligning and agreeing with you. You're getting somebody who's actually willing to ask you some questions, right? So it sounds like, so truth, were you spacing out or were you giving yourself the space you required?
I think the second one felt lighter.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the moment, it didn't feel like that.
Well, yeah, we often, we have these amazing capacities. And one of them is we think we're spacing out when we're actually giving ourselves the space we require to expand out. And so congratulate yourself.
Okay.
There are lots of ways we can respond. One is, you know what, you said, there's so many interesting things you've said here. Do you mind if I take a few moments and I'll call you back? And that gives her the space she needs to stop going, rah, 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 right? So that you can actually ask yourself those questions. What is this? What can I do with it? Can I change this? If not, how can I change it? Yes, no. What is it she can hear? And the biggest one is, what's underneath all of this? Because generally when somebody's talking at you, they're fighting for the rightness of their point of view. So I think just saying, hey, you know what? You've given me, this is brilliant. I love what you're saying. You've given me so much to think about. Do you mind if I take a few moments and get back to you?
Well, in that moment, I still held my ground, and I still I said no to her. And so she got, so she went ahead and did whatever she needed to do with my no in place. So I'm very grateful that I was even able to say that, because she was trying to get me to say yes, and I wasn't going there.
So when you say no, do you go into fight or flight?
Wow, that brings up so much energy, Susan. Wow.
Yeah, that's the I think it's cortisone. That's the chemical that I was talking about, the genetic makeup of what we were given when we come across something that we feel endangered by, an aggressive behavior. We translate that in today's language as fight or flight. It's the same chemical we had to use to run away from dragons and dinosaurs and a fire burning down or a bomb going off. Right? Our body doesn't know the difference because we're telling our body this is panic mode. So how many of us, I thank you, Karen, I love this question, how many of us were taught at a very young age not that we had to fight for the rightness of our point of view? How many of us were brought up in households where there was fighting all the time or arguing? And so we recognized that chemical, and we our way to survive was to just not go into confrontation at all. So we weren't given the tools to actually have a conversation of, oh, that's interesting. Well, would you like to try it like this? I wonder what this could be like. I wonder. We weren't given the wonderment tools. So that as adults now in business, somebody comes at us and we're like, I know how to do that. I don't want to. Yes, I do. No, I don't. Yes, I do. Okay. Right? So again, it's talking to what people can hear, and the willingness for you to acknowledge you actually made all the right moves. Right? So, anywhere you're in judgment of you, I wonder who that belongs to. Yeah. Yep. And it sounds like, you know exactly how to dance the dance with your business partner. So everywhere you've been contradicting and being counterintuitive to what you are actually intuiting. Would you like to let that go?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. Sounds cool. Sounds great. Yeah. Yeah. Any other questions on that?
So in the future, how do you get into that mode where you continue the conversation? Because I have to have this so just keep asking questions out loud
all the way along,
or just
all the way along. Ask questions all the way along. So again, remember that tool I just gave you. Can I get back to you?
Yep.
What is this? What can she hear?
That's a big one.
Right. So everywhere
you much, it's aggressive.
So everywhere you've decided she couldn't hear a no, when she actually can.
Oh, she heard my no. That's right. Good point.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So right. So who have you decided you're not that you actually are?
Oh wow. Woo.
And would you be willing to give yourself permission?
Absolutely.
There you go. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right. Awesome. Thank you so much, Susan.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Laura.
Yeah. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
I love that conversation.
Yeah.
That was great.
We have some writing from Tani on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about the need to justify and explain our judgeable choices to those we care about, please, and what questions do we ask around it?
Stop. I'm going to chunk it down.
Yeah.
Okay. If you've already decided it's judgeable, you're gone, baby. You're gone. You're in the poo pile. So if it's judgeable, it's judgeable. If it walks like a duck and smells like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Oh, I thought I'm just going to do this. Okay. Right? It's a duck. So that's the interesting thing. Thank you, Tani. I love that question. How many of us were brought up at a very young age to justify?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's, justification becomes like breathing. Who did that? Why did you do that?
Mm-hmm.
My father used to say, just say you're sorry. I didn't do anything. Just say you're sorry to your mother. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. He goes, don't you feel better?
No.
Right? So, yeah. No. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
So, okay, I still, like, maybe I'm not getting it. Well, what do you mean by judgeable choice? What does that mean? It's like,
there's no such thing.
Okay, so that's why I'm not getting it. It's like, I don't know what that means.
It's not in your universe.
No. It's like,
that's what I say. You can't. So, okay, let's chunk it down.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the word choice. Now, I could choose to take the tea and pour it all over me. It's a choice.
Right.
And I could say, Larry, you made me do that.
Okay.
Choice. It's all choice. Choice is choice. Breathing. Choice. It's like, it's choice, right? We tend to put choice up on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm. But it's not.
The almighty choice, the good choice. Right? I am the good choice of the East.
The life-changing choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Choice is choice, man. You did, it's not a wrongness, but we're taught to be victims and guilty. Again, I keep going back to what we're taught at a very young age, what we're implanted with, whatever language you want to use, what we're trained to. None of us are actually acknowledged, and it's like, wow, what a good choice.
Mm-hmm.
When Kelsey had her little beings and they were just no teeth, just gums. And she would put them up at the table with a whole bunch of different choices of foods and tiny little pieces. And it was like fruit and meat and whatever it was, a whole bunch of it. And she would let them choose whatever they wanted to gum down.
Mm-hmm.
and it's choice. There was no right food. There was no wrong food.
Yeah.
For the most part, we're taught at a very young age, the right time to pee, the right thing to eat, but it's only right to somebody else's judgment that validates their reality.
Mm.
So the idea of a judgeable choice, there is no such thing. What we do when we say it's a judgeable choice is we're buying someone else's judgment. We're perceiving, right? Somebody else's judgment, and we're creating it as if it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so we take choice, which is just choice. It's like water, choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're judging it, putting it into right, wrong, good, bad,
right,
positive, all of that stuff. So so it's probably not your item, Larry. You probably don't play in judgeable choice.
No, I just choose.
Like, oh well, choose. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. All right. And then she says, and what questions can we ask her on that? I'm sure you answered that already. Also, when we know that people won't receive us or add to our lives, what energy can we be to not exclude them from our creations and lives?
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting choice. I often talk in fearless leadership. You have a choice. You can surround yourself with people who actually have you reaching up on your tippy toes.
Mm-hmm.
Saying, I'll have that. Oh, what's that? Who match your vibration of brilliance and curiosity and thirst and seeking, Or you can surround yourself with people who judge you and criticize you. It's how can you? It's choice.
Oops. Someone screen sharing. Hold on. Let me fix that.
I hope it's something good.
It's a white screen. Okay, hold on. That's good.
Yeah, and it's again, we tend to go into our heads to figure something out. Rather than if you go with your gut, like I always go with my gut, right down there, whether you call it your chakra or your gut or your knowing, whatever that is for you, you know, right? It's like, it's a yes or a no. And go with a yes.
Yes, go with a yes.
Why hang around people who are giving you the no?
Yeah, and and so like sometimes you have no choice because it's a family thing, So it's like, yeah, even then, I keep my distance.
You do have choice. You do have choice.
You do have choice. Yes, you do.
Okay, so I'm going to be with his family. Okay, so what would make the greatest amount of possibilities? Like I'm going to a conference in a couple of weeks.
Mhm.
And there's also a family celebration, traditional family easy for me to say, celebration in Washington.
Mhm.
And the conference I'm going to is in Connecticut. And I'm like, huh. And she said, actually, you can leave Friday night. And I'm like, great. So I can fly Friday night to Washington, and I can, be with the family, get my points.
Mhm.
When I'm with people like that, it's like that, whatever that means. When you're with people that you've decided you have to be with because they're family or whatever it is, how can I turn this to my advantage?
Yeah.
I wonder what this could create. And how much fun can you have? I mean, I kind of go with it like, how much fun can I have messing them up?
Yeah, cool. I like that. And there is always choice, like you said. Absolutely.
Because you go out 5 years from now. Like I went out 5 years from now, and I'm like, okay, so if I don't show up at this family thing, I didn't show up to the last one because I was at a conference. And it's like, oh, okay. Does it actually create more or less if I show up? It creates more. Okay, I can do that.
Right. Yeah. Cool. So Tani, hopefully that helps. I know it helped me. Laugh so hard. Yay, good. And Caroline says, I don't want consequences, I want certainty.
Well, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but consequences are certainty. If you're certain it's going to show up that way, you're going to pay the consequence it's going to show up that way. You get what you ask for.
Ouch.
So, yeah, it's like, how much fun can I have would be really fun to play with.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that word consequences. Just take that out of your dictionary, vocabulary, whatever.
And you get how certainty and synonymous are certainty is synonymous with consequence. If you've already decided there's going to be a consequence, damn certain it's going to be a consequence.
Are you Southern, Susan?
I am right now, honey. Lara, I'm just telling you. Every time you set yourself up for a consequence, you're going to be damn certain it's going to happen. And don't come crying back to me.
Oh, God, yeah. With every choice, there are consequences. That doesn't have to be bad ones. With every choice, there are...
It's an interesting point of view. Who did you buy that? Okay, let's play with the tools you all know.
Okay.
Is that light or heavy? Whoever's asking that.
Caroline.
Is that light or heavy, honey? Yeah, so it's a lie.
It's not good for you.
Does it make you giggle and be orgasmic down in the nether regions? It's a lie. Who did you buy it from? You could ask who I bought it from. The question I would ask is, what's the value of holding on to that? Like,
let it go.
We have these heavy statements we were given. And so we build them up like a wall around us, rather than saying, that actually doesn't work for me. Does that work for you? That's the question I would ask. Does it create wealth and abundance and prosperity in your life, in your living? When you hear a statement like that, does it open up windows of possibilities, and does it give you permission to actually choose something greater? Does it? Don't choose it.
If I decide to not come to work tomorrow, I will not get paid. It's heavy, but I still don't want to go to work tomorrow.
So, well, if you'd like a private session with me, I'd be more than happy to just, I've got discovery sessions for anybody who's interested. You can pop on the Susan Lazar Hart website. There's a discovery session for 15 minutes. We'll see what's popping up for you, and we can dive into it. As this show is only like an hour,
yeah.
I would say your point of view creates your reality. There's a lot of things that when I ask, so if I choose to go into work tomorrow, will it create the money that's required for me to eat, for me to have clothing and heat, and if the work that I'm doing doesn't actually bring in that kind of income, well, what else is possible? And what would it take for this to be fun? Right? And what if you actually changed your point of view?
Yeah.
What if you were the biggest change that walked into that office or that job tomorrow?
Wow.
Would you be willing to be the change agent that job requires?
Cool. Thank you for playing, Caroline. You're so much fun. And yes, definitely take up Susan on her offer to have that discovery session, just so that, you know, you can clear that, you know, just have that be gone. Tani says, it's a relief knowing I can perceive POVs and just be and create instead of feeling the need to do or prove something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is, once you step, you know, we're laughing and playing, we're like laser coaching, and once you step into that awareness, there's a world of possibilities. Because all of a sudden you're aware, oh, actually I don't need to do that anymore. Huh. Or you're going to meet somebody who does exactly what you used to do, or say exactly what you used to say, and you say to yourself, oh, that's what that sounds like. Oh, I'm over it. Or that's what that looks like. I'm so over it. Right, Laura?
Yes.
It's just all of a sudden, with the willingness to give up what isn't working for you, you're going to meet people who are still wrapped up in that point of view. And it's like, oh, that's what that, oh no, I'm moving on.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, you can move on with your point of view, right?
Yeah.
So, and, you know, I always ask all the time, okay, what else is possible here? You know, what am I missing here? Like, there's something here that's not working for me. It's like, what would work for me here? You know, that's what I ask, what would work for me here? You know, because I don't like not having things work for me. So it's like, what would work for me here?
Exactly.
So that I can have more ease in my life and more joy in my life, more fun in my life. What would work?
Yeah.
So I want to just...
Can I just pop into two? One of the things we haven't mentioned that's so paramount is gratitude. Right? Mm-hmm. Like gratitude for, you know, everything you have a point of view about that you're pushing against. Like, I don't want to is a push against. There's no permission for something else to show up in your life if you're pushing against something. And I don't want to, I can't, because all of those are things we push against. So if you're actually willing to be in gratitude, wow, I'm so grateful I have choice. Right? Mm-hmm. Like the other day I asked Ricky, I'm 66, he's 76. And I said, well, what do you want to do for the next 10 years? And he's like, well, I actually love what I'm doing. I said, there's nothing else. There's nothing, no bucket list, nothing. And he goes, no, I love going to work. I love the guys I hang out with. I like playing tennis. I love being with you. And I'm like, oh. And then I went for a walk, and because I'm like, oh, pa, 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 right?
Yeah.
And I was all of a sudden this huge wash of gratitude. It's like, I am so grateful that I chose someone who is so present with their lives, who has no thirsty desires, who is that space for me to be ba, 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 in, while he's like, yeah, go for it, whatever you want. I'm good.
Oh my God, yes, I love that. Thank you. I was having that too yesterday and today with my husband. It's like, I think he's bored. I think he's restless. I think he needs to do something, you know. And he's totally fine and content, you know. So it's like, all right, fine.
that's choice, right? That's the willingness to be in total loving allowance of everyone's choice. And that's, again, are you willing to give yourself permission to be out of judgment, out of expectation, out of projection, out of the form, structure, and significance of what choice is supposed to look like for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And are you allowing yourself permission to choose whatever it is that you're choosing? All the choices that you've made in the past, all the choices you're making now, and all the choices you're going to make in the future.
Yeah. You mean there's more?
There's more. There's always more. I just want to really touch really quickly, and Tanya, I'm gonna get to that thing in a second. I just want to touch really quickly on relationship with you. Right. So for me, that is just like so key, so important, and a lot of that has to do with being present, right? Allowing me to be however I am, how kooky and weird and strange and funny I am, right? And loving myself, you know, without judging, without, okay, there's a little bit of judgment there. I can feel it. But you know, that relationship with you, that total honesty, total vulnerability, total, you know, no BS is, you know, it took me a long time to get to this point where I'm like, I'm okay with me, I'm 51. It took me a long fucking time. Yeah. So can you talk a little bit about that, about your relationship with you and how that works?
Right relationship for you is just that, actually. It's not a dating site.
Sure, you can date yourself.
It's really about, I work with people all around the world. And bottom line is, if you're not willing to have a relationship with you, you can't really have a functioning relationship with anybody else. Mm. And so, what is it that you would like for you? Again, that's why I'm so excited about this upcoming series with, bring the nurturing in. Are you willing to give yourself permission? It's not something that people are actually encouraged to do. Mm-hmm. So the willingness to actually give yourself permission to fall down, to pick yourself up, to not judge yourself, to be in total loving allowance of wonderment, mm-hmm. to understand the cycles that actually are required for you to grow. I mean, we're taught in this life that go, 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 go. Well, every flower has its season. Right. It's springtime, sort of, in Montreal.
I heard there's snow in the forecast for Ontario anyway, so maybe
I'm wearing a scarf, right? It's like a little chilly in the house, and the bulbs are coming up. They've been sleeping all winter. So for people, they judge themselves. Oh, I watched a movie, or I did Netflix, or I did this or did that. There's a time and a place. If you're using it as a distraction, ask yourself, what am I distracting myself from? Mm-hmm. Are you willing to be you, whatever that looks like? So right relationship for you is really about what if there was nothing wrong with you? And what kind of relationship would you like to create with yourself? And, I've been with Ricky for 40 years. And with your partner. And it's not about having to have a partner. It's about being present with you. So if you actually would enjoy having a partner, you are the vibration of what attracts what you've been asking for, rather than looking for someone else to complete you. I always say in that movie with Tom Cruise, when he says, "You complete me," and they say the end, he goes off to his trailer, takes his makeup off, and his driver takes him to his hotel where he has a beautiful dinner. It's the end, right? Not real. And so it's the same thing. Would you be willing to look in the mirror and go like, "Looking good, baby. You're completing me today." Yeah.
And having gratitude for you, gratitude for you, who you are, what you've done or not done, all your choices, and just being present here.
And also that, what I love about what I do, and when I'm working with people is the willingness to kind of, I call it, get down and dirty, roll up your sleeves. What's working, what's not working? Come on, let's get real, right? Let's get real. What's working, what's not working? Because it's a fantasy. If I told you guys, well, I'm going to be married 40 years coming up, and it's just been a bed of roses. It's like, really, right? It's all what is it that you are a work in progress. Bottom line, you're a work in progress. Mm-hmm. You are a work in progress, and it could go through many thousands of lifetimes. You are a work in progress. So the idea that something is finished, that you are completed by somebody else, it's a lie.
Yeah.
And
it invalidates you.
It does. And so when you go to bed at night, I always look in the mirror. I always say I'm the last one that looks at me at night. I look in the mirror and I want to like what I see. And I mean that in every sense of the word. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's really the willingness to ask truly, what is it that I came here to be and do? And am I in that direction? Maybe yes, maybe no. For myself, being part of a team with Ricky is more like the two of us as separate are totally autonomous to ourselves. And when we together, we create something greater. Right?
Yeah.
But it's not dependent on. And so that to me is the right relationship. So it's very many, many, many levels. Yeah. And it's the willingness to give yourself permission to choose that, rather than most of us have been brought up choosing what our parents had, or against what our parents had.
yes, us rebels were like, I'm not going to do what my parents did. I'm going to do it my way.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you hear yourself sounding like your mother at 40. You know what I mean? Like, get it from the house. It's like, who said that?
I know, right? I've caught myself saying things just like my mother. It's like, oh, crap. But not in my relationship. So it's like my relationship is totally different. As everybody on the show knows, because I talk about my husband all the time. He's the best. Oh my God, how'd I get so lucky? I don't know. I really don't have no idea. He's a saint.
Well, there's a big question on there.
I know, right? I'm trying to read it, and it's like,
Let's cut to the quick. Thank you, Tani. I love your questions. Okay, basically talking about how we often use people as gossip or misery as connection points. What more can we talk about? There's so much, but I draw a blank. Okay. So what would you, here's my question, Tony. What would you like to create? Oh, I think we answered that. Oh my gosh, epiphanies galore.
oh, maybe, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I think we answered. And really the bottom line with all of this is, the question is, what is it you'd like to create? And it changes all the time. You know, I change all the time. I'm much, you know, with we have little choices and big choices. And as we make these big choices, we change all the time. And as we make these little choices, we change all the time. For me, it's like I always say, pull the Band-Aid off quickly or slowly. The Band-Aid's got to come off, right? And that's being willing to do that. And how do you become willing? Well, if you're willing to let go that there's anything wrong, that just that point of view, it's like, you know, I was walking the dog the other day, and there's so many things that I'm asking to play with and create with and change and do and be, and I'm looking out 30 years from now, and I'm like, and I kind of said to myself, well, it doesn't really matter, right?
Yeah.
Just do it.
Exactly. Just do it. And you know,
if it's not working, change it. Do it. Be it. Yeah.
And you know, one of the things you mentioned just a few minutes ago was about at the end of the night, you look at yourself in the mirror and what? Because you said something and it got me. It's like, am I doing what I came here to do? You know, or did I?
Well,
am I
it's more
what
like,
I came here to be, and it's like,
it's more like it's like, don't go to bed with regrets.
Yeah, I don't have regrets.
Right? Like, you know, when I always say when I look at myself in the mirror, I want to be like, yeah, you know, all right, you know, it doesn't matter how much I fell. It's more like, and sometimes I'm at a loss, and I just kind of grab the sink and I say, okay, universe, what else is possible? Right? What else is possible? And be willing, you know, to actually take that moment. Like I said to Karen, tell the person, you know what, that's really great information. Let me get back to you.
Yeah.
Like, be willing with yourself to say that to yourself. You know, everywhere we're pushed to come up with an answer, to figure it out, to solve the problem. You know, it's like the letter I sent out today. Last night I was really tired and I was struggling, and I'm like, I'm just going to get up early at 6 and do this letter. And it came in 5 minutes in the morning. Right? And because it came from me. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's the ticket. You know, give yourself the space to actually come to you, with you, from you. Yeah. And it could be, and sometimes they're like really low, and that's okay. You know, be willing to be there for yourself when there seems like no hope in sight, when it's like, oh my God, I can't believe I chose that. And then ask yourself, so go out 5 years from now. If you held on to the choice, what would you be creating 5 years from now? And that's actually what created my huge shift in December. I kind of went out 12. I went out 12 years in the future, and I'm like, this has been an interesting 12 years. If I go out 12 years from now or 5 years from now, do I want to see something different? And I'm like, yeah, I actually do. Okay, cool. So what are my priorities? And I wrote down my priorities for myself, and I'm like, cool. Okay, so what would be the first step? Take the Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
You know, and it's made such a difference for me. And I'm so grateful for that, because I mean, before that, I was a professional painter for 30 years, and in gallery systems and architectural magazines, and now I'm investigating speaking and getting involved in different ways, and it's like, I wonder what this can create. And is some of it scary? It's unknown. Right?
It's unknown.
And it's giving yourself permission to step into the unknown. Right? Yeah.
And that's the thing. Sometimes those like we can choose big changes like that, big choices that, are a little bit scary, like you said, or uncomfortable, but but the way that you did it, by going out into the future and looking at what that choice will create, or what this choice will create, or so on, and getting the sense of that, and then looking at your priorities, it's like, what is your priority in your life? Like, what are your priorities? Do people even know that? And then choosing based on that too. It's like, okay, well, this is not working for me in 12 years or whatever from now, because it doesn't match my priorities. So it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's time for a change. But from the point of asking the question, is it time for a change?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Without the judgment, without anything like that, just, is it time for a change? Because we can choose different paths, as we progress on our, we are work in progress, or we're just, shifting and changing. It's
absolutely, yeah,
it's all good, right?
Yep. And it's a willingness to actually give yourself permission.
Yeah.
It's like, do you go into the same restaurant every day, or do you go into a restaurant that looks kind of good, smells good, your body says, I'll have that. And sometimes I go into a restaurant and I'm there for about 2 minutes and I'm like, okay, we're out.
Yeah. It's like, no, I don't like this.
My daughter was like, you can't do that, Mom. I'm like, yeah, actually I can.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I can. But there's a reservation. It doesn't matter. I'm going somewhere else. I don't like it.
It's okay. Yeah.
And so, and that's also.
I love that. Here's your new bumper sticker. Life is not a reservation.
Life is not a reservation. Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, and you included your body in the choices that you made and are making.
All the time. Yeah.
Right? And that's something that, when I was growing up, and even until like last year or the year before, my body was not included in any choices, I was just choosing based on my personality.
It actually was included. Like you can't put your body in the closet and then.
It's true that I didn't acknowledge it, right?
Yeah. It's actually there. I'm choosing to eat. I'm choosing to binge. I used to walk around when I was putting the kids to bed with chocolate chips in a coffee cup, as if, and I would just chug the chocolate chip. Finally, they got a little older. Go, Mom, your breath smells like chocolate when I kiss them again. Good night. I'm like, no.
Oh, that's so funny.
I brought my body with me. I'm like, body. I didn't say, body, you want to eat all this chocolate? I'm like, I need the chocolate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's true. But for me, it's still about acknowledging that, my body is included, so now I'm more consciously choosing it. And that is going to make a difference too in the choices that you make.
Correct. It's the willingness to acknowledge we are conscious beings.
Mm-hmm.
Our bodies are conscious. We embody consciousness. Consciousness is who we be.
Yeah.
And so when we go into any of these distractions, we're actually displacing. Consciousness is always there. Choice is always there. We're displacing it. It's still there.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't go away. It doesn't dissipate. Consciousness is. Choice is. We just displace it for a while.
Because we're stuck in our head, stuck in our story, stuck, doing that mental loop, And I was going to ask you, so, because, you've been making a lot of changes in your life, and different choices and so on and so forth, right? For you, what does the gift of choice mean to you?
Oh gosh, I hitchhiked through Mexico when I was 16. Like I chose birth, baby. I mean, it was like, oh my God, she chose to be a girl. Okay. Mm-hmm. I was surrounded by wolves, right? And so choice, what does choice mean to me? Choice is who we be. I've always had that point of view. I know I've been different. Choice is. It's like, choice is. Like, I'll have that. I'll do that. I got put in solitary confinement in boarding school when I was in grade 8. I guess I was choosing something different.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
It's just, I actually got my own room. It was like a British boarding school. I got my own room. Choice is, and I was always willing to give myself permission to choose.
Yeah.
And I think that's who we be.
So are you all giving yourself permission to choose what's right for you, or what, right is not always the right proper word, but what feels good for you, what is expansive for you, what brings you joy, what lights you up? Are you giving yourself permission to choose that for you?
And are you giving yourself permission to fuck up?
Ah, yes. Oh my God.
Right? That's what I say. We tend to put choice up on the all holy choice.
Yeah, right? On the pedestal, for sure.
Choice is.
Are you giving yourself permission to fuck up? Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, the only person that's talking about you is you.
Yeah.
I always used to say, you're yesterday's news. If they're not talking about you, they're talking about somebody else. And most people don't choose because they don't want somebody they don't want to ruin, quote unquote, what they've decided their role is with this body and this reality. Yeah. It has nothing, choose it, baby. He who has the most judgment still dies. Like he who has the most toys still dies. He who has the most judgment still dies.
Yeah.
Kathy, are you okay? You're kind of staring at the Kathy Smithers. Are you all right? You okay? I just noticed you're kind of staring at the. You okay?
Is she frozen? Oh, she might be frozen.
No. But I think I just said something.
Oh, no. There it is. Yeah, she's moving. Yeah, cool.
Thumbs up, thumbs down.
Her internet is slow?
Oh, your internet's slow. Okay, gotcha.
Looks like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. If the choice is light, then doesn't that mean it's not fucked up? Ha ha ha. Yeah. If the choice is light,
not necessarily. Not necessarily. There's so many times I'm like, oh, if I buy you, will you make me money? And it said yes. Or if I work with this person, will you make me money? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, it made me money in the sense of I became aware of actually what would create a greater business. And working with this person is not it. I still had to pay their salary.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Like yesterday, I bought a pair of shoes. And it was so much fun, right? These orange shoes, and I tried on 5 different variations of the orange shoe, and I kept asking my body. My body's like, no. I said, well, if I buy these, will this make you money? No. And I'm just smiling at the person bringing out shoes, right? Meanwhile, I'm having this internal discussion with my body. And finally, they brought out a pair of deep red shoes, and they fit brilliantly. My body's like, that's what we want. So, right? It's a yes. Again, please don't put yes on a pedestal.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes is often the information you require to move forward, to realize I actually don't require this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Or I haven't actually been listening. There's yes to this and yes to this and yes to, it felt light. Well, did you ask if I choose this, what would this create in 5 years from now?
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask if I choose this, will this bleed my money flows or create more?
Ooh.
Like there's so many ways we go for that yes, and it could be yes, you need to hear this information, honey. It could be yes, you actually need to go through this in order to get a sense of what you really want to create.
Interesting. Yeah.
It could be, yes could be all different. There's all different nuances with yes.
I love that.
Same way there's all different nuances with no. Are you willing to give yourself permission to listen? To the whispers of change. And a lot of people say, well, it was a yes, and they hold themselves to it and then judge themselves because it was a yes and now it's not working. So it really ask yourself about the yes. When I got the yes about the iGirls, and I'm like, oh my God, it was so visceral, went through my whole body. It was just, I couldn't even speak properly. It was just, so I didn't say, oh my God, like if I sign up as a speaker here and then volunteer the next day, is that a yes? It's more like I'll have that.
Yeah.
I'll have that.
And then you keep asking questions. You keep asking questions.
The question would be, I wonder what this could create, and then go to the future and like, cool. So who's at that conference that I'm applying to that's in July that is actually, that I need to see or hear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. What people do is they re-ask the yes again and again and again.
Yeah. And then they just solidify it and it becomes a conclusion, really, right?
Correct. They're looking for the right yes.
The right yes for you.
Right yes for you.
Yeah. And Karen's asking, can things lie? Can things lie?
What do you know?
I love that question. What do you know?
What do you know? Do things talk to you? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Do they lie? There's no such thing as, lying. Like, what is a lie? What have you decided a lie is?
Mm-hmm.
Generally, when somebody says they lied to me, or it's like I'm going to be right or I'm going to be wrong. I want the proof that I was right. Because if you say you lied to me, you're not actually in your awareness. So it's the willingness to give yourself permission to be aware.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, everywhere we've decided we have to use everything up, use the person up. Like I got this tea just about 2 hours ago, and it was a yummy honey, lemon infused ginger tea. And it's delicious, and my body got to a certain point it didn't want anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked my body, so which of these things do you want to do you actually want to drink anything in here? And my body's like, ooh, how about that? I'm like, okay, cool. So I it was hot and yummy, and then it wasn't hot and yummy anymore. My body didn't want any more.
Yeah.
So it's the willingness to say thank you. Did it lie to me? It's your point of view creates your reality. We shift every 10 seconds, and that's where choice is. So you could choose and then choose again. Don't doubt the yes. Don't doubt the no. Ask, is there any other information here that I should be aware of? Or, if I choose this, what would that create for me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Karen, for that question.
Great questions.
Yeah, I love it. Oh my goodness. So just really quickly, I want to share something that happened today. So right before we had the show, my husband and I went to the grocery store. And before I left, I changed my pants because I was wearing sweatpants, whatever, and I got into jeans. And I looked up at my mirror as I was walking out. I was like, oh, wow, I still have my really nice earrings on. I guess I'm going to go to the grocery store with, my really nice earrings. And it's like, okay, cool. It felt, I don't know, I felt so elegant. It's like,
nice.
It's like I'm going to the grocery store wearing these really expensive, I'm not going to tell my husband how much, earrings. It's like, it was like a totally different feeling than just going to the grocery store in sweats. Normally it's like, who cares? Just go to the grocery store, whatever, just go put on anything and go, right? But here I am, I'm walking out and I'm like, oh, I'm looking really good, really elegant, especially with these earrings. Like, wow, did not know this could be a possibility. How much fun is that? So thank you, earrings, for staying in my ears, because it's like, I only, so it's like, changing my perspective on things and, because we're talking about things and wearing things and how they can contribute to you, right? So I didn't ask the earrings, oh, do you want to stay on? It's like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe this will be fun. And it was such a, I don't know, I've never felt like that. Like I've never experienced that, like going to the grocery store feeling elegant. It's like, wow, this is interesting.
It's, how many of us, thank you so much for that, Alara, how many of us are actually willing to live in abundance? Right? Yeah. And our bodies love it.
Yeah. I know, it's like, I was like, I don't know. It was just a surreal moment, as I was walking out the door, and it's like, I was looking pretty European, not Ottawa,
See the ripple of change that creates a change in people's lives today. How does it get any better?
Exactly. Yeah. So, it's interesting what you can perceive and what your point of view is. So in the past, my point of view was, oh, who cares? Just go to the grocery store, whatever, just put on anything, right? And today it's like, no, this feels good. So it's like, oh, cool. Maybe next time I'll, wear my earrings again, or wear something else different, or I'll, whatever. I'll just, it's like, I don't have to be the same way that I was before forever. I can choose to be different. I can choose to play with things and energies and places and see what that creates. So this created a feeling of elegance, like, oh, I love it. And so my body likes it, right? And so me being in relationship with me now is about having and being more elegant, having more abundance, like you're talking about, having more richness and having more fun and joy in my life. Because my body likes it, I like it, and it's, it's creating more in my life. Does that make any sense at all?
It's the willingness to give yourself permission to have it all.
Whew, wow. So are you guys all willing to have it all? Are you guys willing to give yourself permission to have it all now?
Yes. I like it. Yeah.
Perfect. I love it. Any last questions? Because I know we're starting to go a little bit over. I'm not sure what time we started, but any last questions from anybody about relationships, fearless leadership? I love the fearless leadership part. I just love it. I think that is like so creative.
Required.
I was trying to, I was saying relevant, and it's like it's so needed, and especially for the younger women and the girls or the teenagers growing up, that getting them to choose for themselves instead of peer pressure and all that wonderful stuff, And
well, it's the invitation that's required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's going to be a whole new thing, because they've never seen that before.
Well, I wonder.
So I'm excited to see what you create and what you bring to the world with regards to fearless leadership. It's like, I think it's going to be exciting and cool, and especially nowadays, people are looking for change.
We love change. Change is good.
Yes, exactly. And it doesn't have to be scary. You can rip the Band-Aid off quickly, and it can still be okay.
Well, it's really the willingness to be present with what it is you came here to be and do, and ask yourself, is whatever it is you're playing with now or creating with now, it's not about judging it. It's about asking, are you willing to give yourself permission for more? Whatever that looks like. And it's not about rushing out and doing, and it's more like being the presence of space and just being quiet. Could be just being quiet.
Mm-hmm.
And what is it that information's coming to you? What are you hearing? Actually lights. Like the other day, I was like, oh, wow, my body's asking for a massage. It's like, cool. Put that in the calendar. Let's go for that. It can be something as small as smelling the roses. It could be something as large as changing your life. Everything changes if you're willing to actually choose and give yourself permission. And and once again, inviting you all to the Bring the Nurturing series this month. If you go on the website, we start in May, and I'm changing it up a little bit. Instead of how we were creating, it's the Tuesday and Wednesday of the first 3 weeks of every month, and it's 30 minutes of laser coaching with home play on the weekend. And it's pretty exciting, and I can't wait to start. Starts May 1st, so hop on in. The price is pretty yummy. I'm just telling you, you're going to be surprised at how juicy it is.
And how do they find out about it?
Go to SusanLazarHart.com. It's right on the website or any of the Facebooks, and bit.ly link is giving yourself permission.
Cool. And you also have a gift for us.
I do.
It is on the gift.
Yes.
Can you tell us?
Some of you know about it. It's the basically how to say no without feeling guilty.
Yeah.
That's a discussion we've been having over at Ask Susan, and it's like how to actually say no. And I give some tips on what is the easiest way for you to actually step into who you truly be without ruffling everybody up, without that expectation of this is going to cause a problem. And so, we've gotten great feedback People are loving it. So it's just for you guys.
Yay.
How to say no without feeling guilty. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah, that is also needed, still, for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you. And thank you so much, everyone, for all of your questions and comments. They're so, wonderful, wonderful questions. They really, this conversation could not have gone to where we did go without your questions. So thank you. I'm so grateful.
And for people that want to go deeper with me, hop on for a discovery session. Again, go to the website, susanlazarhart.com. Hop onto the discovery session. We have like 15 minutes where we can actually see where it is that you are asking to go, and see where we'd like to go from there. So
yeah, I might do that too. I have a question.
Terrific. All right.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much, Susan. So much fun. I got so many ahas again this time. So I just love our conversation. So thank you. Thank you.
Me too. Thanks. And thank you all again for showing up and sharing your day with us, because it's you who make these calls, not us. So
absolutely. All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a great day, afternoon, evening. And until next time, continue to live your life filled with joy, peace, love, abundance, and happiness. Sending you all much love and blessings always. Bye for now.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.